Welcome back, everybody. Today we're diving deep into No Excuses by Brian Tracy. We're going to unpack some powerful ideas about self-discipline. It's the real key to success. At least that's what Tracy argues. I'm honestly curious to see what you all think. This stuff is tough to actually do, even when you know it's good for you.
Oh, absolutely. And Tracy, he doesn't really sugarcoat it. He says straight up, success. It's not an accident. It comes from consistently doing what those successful people do, even when it's hard.
So it's like paying the price up front, like he says.
Right, exactly. Paying the price. He compares it to like a cafeteria. You can pick anything you want, but got to pay before you can eat.
That's a good way to put it. We want the rewards, but don't always want to do the work first.
And it's not just about working hard, it's about working smart too.
Yeah.
He tells this story about a dentist, right? This dentist invested a ton of money and time to learn this new cosmetic surgery technique, and it paid off big time. He became like the expert everyone wanted. Retired early, comfortably, the whole 9 yards.
Okay, so this dentist, he was already successful, right? Could have just stayed comfortable, but chose to invest even more in himself.
And that's what so many people miss. They hit a level and then boom, they plateau. Stop paying the price to grow more.
You're saying it connects back to that paying the price idea?
He even uses this story about a salesman tripled his income using Tracy's stuff, but then he stopped and his income just flatlined. Tracy's point, never stop learning. He actually has this thing, the 3% rule. Ever heard of it?
The 3% rule, can't say I have.
Okay, so it's like this. You take 3% of your income, whatever it is, and invest it back into your knowledge, your skills. Could be books, courses, anything that helps you grow. Tracy says it's key to running more.
Interesting. So what skills could you acquire right now that would boost your earning potential? Like thinking of yourself as a business, investing in you like you would a valuable asset.
That's it. But it's not all about skills. Tracy's big on character, too. Says integrity, IS, good character, aligning your self-ideal, self-image, and self-esteem, all that good stuff.
So who you are matters just as much as what you do. How does that tie back to self-discipline, though?
Well, he says lack of self-discipline can actually, like, eat away at your character. Makes you blame everyone else for your problems instead of owning up. You're giving away your power, basically. True power comes from taking 100% responsibility for everything in your life.
I see what you mean. So if you take full responsibility, you're not a victim of circumstance, you're in control. That's pretty powerful, but kind of scary, right?
Oh, for sure. And he goes even further, saying, never complain, never explain.
Whoa, never complain. That's a tough one.
Right, but think about it. It forces you to face reality, take action to change it. No more negativity, just solutions.
I can see how that would be helpful, cutting through all the noise.
He's also big on setting clear goals, written down with deadlines, like activating the success mechanism in our brains.
Not just some vague idea of what you want, but actual concrete targets.
And there's psychology behind it. We naturally follow the easiest path, what he calls the failure mechanism. Things like status quo bias, loss aversion, all that. We're wired to avoid change, even if it means being stuck.
So we're fighting our own biology to succeed.
Kinda, yeah. But by setting those clear written goals, we can override that default and tap into the success mechanism. He suggests this technique called mindstorming.
Mindstorming for achieving goals. Isn't that more for, like, brainstorming creative ideas?
Right, but he uses it to unlock those creative solutions. Start with a question about your goal, then force yourself to come up with 20 answers. Doesn't matter how crazy they sound at first.
Okay, so you push past the obvious and get to the more creative stuff.
Exactly. And once you got those 20 ideas, you pick one and take action immediately.
Not just thinking, but doing. I think that's where a lot of self-help advice fails. People get stuck planning and never do anything.
He brings up the law of cause and effect here. Thoughts are causes, conditions are effects. How you think shapes your life. If you constantly think about limitations, guess what? Yeah. You'll probably create them.
So like a self-fulfilling prophecy, if you believe you'll succeed, you're more likely to actually do what it takes.
Exactly. And that brings us to another big one. Courage.
Yeah.
We all feel fear,
Yeah.
say. But Tracy says courage isn't the absence of fear, it's mastering it. He says act as if you're already courageous, even if you're terrified underneath.
Fake it till you make it.
You got it. He believes acting the part actually rewires our brains, sending a signal that this is who we are until the fear fades. It's like exercising a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
I get that. Sometimes I've had to give presentations and I'm like totally freaking out. But if you act confident, eventually the nerves calm down.
Right. It's like you're tricking your brain. And he also talks about courageous patience, that ability to keep going even when you don't see results right away.
Mm.
Reminds us building a successful life takes time.
True, true. And that's tough these days, right? Instant gratification everywhere you look. We've kind of lost that ability to wait for things.
Definitely a long-term perspective. Now, something more practical time management. He's all about the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. 80% of results come from just 20% of what you do.
Heard of that, but isn't that more of a business thing? Not really personal?
He applies it to everything. Figure out those 20% of activities that the most value and just hammer those.
So you got to be really strict with your time, huh?
He calls it the law of forced efficiency. There's never enough time for everything, but always enough time to do the most important things.
So no more wasting time on stuff that doesn't really matter, huh?
Right? Prioritize.
Hmm.
And he has this thing called the law of three. Basically, there are three main tasks that make up 90% or more of your value to your company. He also says, work all the time you're at work.
Wait, what? Like no breaks, no lunch? What does that even mean?
No, no, not like that. He means no distractions, no chit-chat, no internet browsing, just pure focused work. He tells a story about how this, plus taking on more responsibility, helped him move up the ladder super fast.
Wow, I can see how that would work, but it sounds intense. Makes you think about how much time we all waste on stuff that doesn't get us anywhere.
Intentionality.
Yeah.
That's the key. And it ties directly into financial independence. Lack of self-discipline. That's the root of most money problems, he says.
Yeah, it's easy to blow money if you can't resist those urges, but he's talking about more than that, right?
Oh, yeah. He says how we're conditioned as kids to think happiness equals spending money, not saving it. That instant gratification again. We got to rewire our brains, start connecting happiness with saving, investing for the future.
I've been guilty of that myself. Buying stuff for that quick hit of happiness, but it never lasts.
Exactly. He has this thing, the financial freedom account, basically a savings account, just for long-term goals. And he really pushes the power of compound interest. Small amounts invested regularly grow like crazy over time.
So it's like you got to play the long game, make those small sacrifices now for a bigger payoff later.
You got it. He recommends the 1% formula. Start by saving just 1% of your income each month and slowly increase it over time. Gradual, so it's not such a shock to the system.
Makes sense. Much less overwhelming than trying to change everything at once.
And as you get more disciplined with money, your whole mindset shifts. You think smarter about spending, see the value of saving and investing. It's a positive feedback loop.
Okay, so we've covered work, money, even character. But what about happiness? Does Tracy even address that?
Oh, for sure. He lays out 5 key ingredients: health, relationships, meaningful work, financial security, and self-actualization. Getting those all in balance, that's the key to happiness.
It's like a holistic approach, right? Taking care of your whole self.
He doesn't stop there, though. He goes into detail on each one, giving tips and strategies. Like, for example, he talks about letting go of blame, negativity. Forgiveness is super important, he says, not for the other person, but for you.
Yeah, I can see that. It can be really hard to let go of stuff, especially if you feel wronged, but holding on to that anger just hurts you in the end.
He calls forgiveness a selfish act. It frees you from those heavy negative emotions. Use your intelligence to find reasons to forgive, he says, not to hold grudges.
Consciously choosing to let go and move on, even when it's hard. That's a powerful idea.
Absolutely. And he believes that forgiveness is essential for inner peace. So it's worth the effort, even if it's challenging.
Okay, we've covered a lot here. Self-discipline, learning, taking responsibility, setting goals, money, happiness, even inner peace. It's a lot to think about.
We've only scratched the surface, too. There's so much more to explore.
And we will in the next part of our deep dive. But first, I want to hear from you. What's resonating with you so far? What stands out as something you can actually apply to your own life?
A lot to digest, yeah. But that's what these deep dives are for, right? Really getting into these ideas and seeing how they connect with our own lives.
You mentioned earlier that Tracy goes deep on those 5 ingredients of happiness, health, relationships, meaningful work, financial security, and self-actualization. I'd love to hear more about what he says about each of those.
He starts with health, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Hard to be happy when you're not feeling good, right? Physically or mentally.
You gotta have a solid base to build on, right? If you're always struggling with your health, it's hard to focus on anything else.
Exactly. And he doesn't mean some crazy fitness level, more like a lifestyle that supports you overall. He's big on positive thinking for health, but not in a superficial way. actively shaping your thoughts, realizing they impact your emotions and actions.
A lot of people get positive thinking wrong. It's not about ignoring problems or pretending everything's perfect. It's about focusing on the positive aspects and believing you can overcome those challenges.
Exactly. Okay, so then he moves on to relationships. Strong, supportive relationships, those are essential for happiness.
It makes me think about all the research on loneliness, how bad it is for us. We need connection to feel loved and supported.
And he talks about that. Our need for connection goes into communication, empathy, understanding, all that good stuff. Even brings up forgiveness again, how it helps create harmony in relationships.
Forgiveness is huge. Not about saying what happened was okay, but freeing yourself from that resentment, that bitterness. It can really poison a relationship.
He wants us to be mindful of how we interact with others. Are we building each other up or tearing each other down? Are we being understanding? Important questions to ask.
Definitely. Okay, now meaningful work. That's something I'm really passionate about myself. Can't imagine spending my days doing something that doesn't feel meaningful, you know?
Tracy feels the same way. A job should be more than just a paycheck, right?
Mm.
It should give you a sense of purpose, like you're contributing something positive.
Aligning your work with your values, your passions, that's what it's all about.
He gets it. Not everyone can just jump into their dream job right away. But even in a less than ideal situation, you can find ways to make it meaningful. Opportunities for growth, supportive colleagues, that kind of thing.
The work environment itself, that can make a huge difference.
Right. Feeling valued, respected, challenged, it all matters.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, financial security. We touched on that earlier. Tracy sees it as a key part of happiness, feeling financially stable, secure.
It makes sense. When you're always stressed about money, it impacts everything, your relationships, your health, your whole life.
Doesn't mean you need to be rich to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
It's more about having control of your finances, feeling confident you can meet your needs.
That feeling of security lets you focus on other things that bring you joy, right?
Exactly. And finally, we have self-actualization, reaching your full potential, becoming the best version of yourself.
That one's a bit more abstract to me. How does Tracy define it in a way that makes sense for everyday life?
It's about setting ambitious goals, constantly learning and growing, using your talents. Be bold, he says. Strive for excellence in everything you do.
It seems like those other four ingredients, health, relationships, meaningful work, financial security, they all create a space where you can really focus on self-actualization.
I like that. It's a solid foundation so you can reach for your highest potential.
He's challenging us to go beyond just surviving, to really thrive.
Absolutely. It's a lifelong journey, always pushing yourself to grow, make a real impact.
It's inspiring, but kind of overwhelming too, right? Trying to find balance in all these areas. Where do you even start?
He knows it's a process that takes effort. Be honest with yourself about what's working, what needs work.
So it's about taking stock of your life, seeing your strengths, and where you want to grow.
Exactly. Doesn't have to be perfect, just gradual progress. Be mindful of how you use your time, set boundaries, put your well-being first.
It's easy to get caught up in life and neglect ourselves. Sometimes you need to say no to make space for the things that truly nourish you.
He also talks about longevity, which goes hand in hand with health and vitality. A whole chapter on living a long, healthy life, taking care of your body, nutrition, exercise, rest.
I'm glad he addresses that. We tend to dismiss those basic health habits, but they're so important. It's not just about living longer, it's about living better.
Prevention is key. Investing in your health today pays off later. Regular checkups, being proactive, all that.
He's not pushing some crazy restrictive lifestyle, is he?
Nope, not at all. He gives practical tips on nutrition, eating regularly, avoiding overeating, healthy foods, all that. But he doesn't demonize any specific foods or promote fad diets.
That's refreshing. So many health gurus are all about restriction, and it's just not sustainable.
Exercise. He says aim for at least 30 minutes most days, moderate intensity, but find something you enjoy. Everyone's different.
I like that. If you hate your workouts, you won't stick with them.
Makes sense, right? And sleep. Most adults need 7-8 hours. Relaxing bedtime routine, no caffeine or alcohol before bed, cool, dark, quiet room.
All good advice. What about weight management? So many people struggle with that.
He's clear. Fad diets don't work. Lasting weight loss.
Yeah.
Healthy eating and exercise. Patience and persistence, those are key.
I appreciate that. A balanced, sustainable approach, not some quick fix.
He tells this story about a woman who started running in her late 60s and ended up running marathons. It's never too late.
That's amazing. We often think, I'm too old for that, but it's just not true. You could always choose to prioritize your health.
Always room for improvement. Be proactive, make those healthy choices, and now to set yourself up for a long, vibrant life.
It's about taking ownership of your health, just like we talked about taking ownership of your life in general.
Exactly. You're the one making the choices. Now, let's shift to relationships. Tracy's all about how important they are for happiness. He has whole chapters on marriage, parenting, friendship.
Marriage, that's a big one. It's often romanticized, but it takes a lot of work to make it last.
He doesn't sugarcoat it. A happy, successful marriage.
Mm.
It takes self-discipline, a lot of it.
Self-discipline in a marriage, that's an interesting concept. What does that even look like?
It's about consciously putting your partner's happiness first, even when it means putting your own needs aside sometimes. Communication, empathy, understanding, all crucial for those tough times that every couple faces.
It's about putting in the effort, not taking each other for granted, constantly working to make the relationship stronger.
Relationships need work, like a garden. You got to nurture them. He talks about setting boundaries, expectations, finances, chores, parenting, even personal space. All that needs to be discussed and agreed upon.
Creating a shared vision and then working together to make it a reality.
Physical intimacy, that's important too. Strengthens the bond. Make time for romance, even when life gets busy.
So easy to let that slide, but it's crucial for a healthy relationship.
Communication tips too. I statements, listening without interrupting, finding solutions instead of placing blame.
That's good advice. Couples therapy taught me a lot about that. Changing how you communicate can make a huge difference.
Show appreciation too. Say thank you, acknowledge each other's strengths. Small gestures go a long way. Okay, parenting. That's another area where self-discipline is huge, GE.
I think every parent would agree raising good kids is one of the hardest but most rewarding things you can do.
It takes dedication, no doubt. Set clear expectations, consistent routines, loving environment, be a positive role model, walk the talk.
Kids learn more from what we do than what we say.
Discipline. It's guidance, not punishment. Teaching right from wrong. Self-control, preparing them for the world.
Empowering them to make good choices, understand consequences.
Every kid is different. No one-size-fits-all approach. Be flexible, adaptable, figure out what works for each child.
Makes sense. Got to be attuned to their personality, their needs.
Communication and connection. Create a safe space for them to share. No judgment. Spend quality time, do things together.
Those shared memories, they really strengthen the bond.
Foster their independence, let them make choices, learn from their mistakes. Builds confidence and resilience.
Finding that balance, guidance, and support, letting them explore and learn on their own.
Forgive their mistakes. Everyone makes them. It's a learning opportunity. See your kids as works in progress.
That's a great way to look at it. Embrace the imperfections, celebrate the journey.
And letting go. They need independence as they grow. Support their journey into adulthood.
Hard to let go, but it's for their own good. Trust that you've prepared them.
Friendship. Strong friendships, they're essential for happiness too. Be proactive. Reach out to people you admire. Stay connected.
It's easy to neglect friendships when life gets busy, but they need attention just like any relationship.
Be a good listener. Offer support. Be there for each other. And forgiveness is important here too. Even the strongest friendships get tested sometimes.
Be present, work through challenges together.
Now, circling back to personal responsibility, a whole chapter on that. One of the most powerful things you can do, he says.
We talked about the failure mechanism, blaming others. Seems like this responsibility thing runs through the whole book.
Until you own your life, you're giving your power away. External circumstances shouldn't dictate your happiness.
You can't control the wind, but you can adjust your sails.
You got it. No more blaming, no more excuses, no more victim mentality. Own your choices, actions, consequences.
It's not about dwelling on the past, but recognizing you can choose differently now and create a better future.
Never complain, never explain. Complaining, making excuses, it drains you. Focus on solutions, take action.
That one's tough for me. It's so easy to complain, but it can become a bad habit.
Be proactive. Believe you can make a difference. That's an internal locus of control. People with that tend to be more successful, happier, more resilient.
Because they feel empowered to make things happen.
Be proactive about solving problems too. Problems are opportunities for growth.
I like that reframing. Challenges as stepping stones, not roadblocks.
He gives a step-by-step approach. Define the problem, brainstorm solutions, weigh pros and cons, take action. Don't give up easily. Most successful people, they've had tons of setbacks.
It's about grit, that ability to bounce back and keep going.
And be resourceful. Get help when you need it. Books, courses, mentors, friends, family. There are resources everywhere.
Be open to learning from others. Sometimes you just need a fresh perspective.
Okay, now self-image. How you see yourself, it shapes your behavior, your outcomes in life.
Makes sense. If you don't believe in yourself, you won't take risks, you won't succeed.
3 parts to self-image: how you see yourself, how you think others see you, and how they actually treat you. When those line up, it's good. When they don't, it creates problems.
So if you have a negative self-image, but everyone around you is positive, that creates conflict.
Right. Be mindful of the messages you're sending yourself. If you want to achieve big things, you need a positive self-image.
A lot of self-help is just like, think positive, but it's not that simple if you have a deep-seated negative self-image.
He knows that. He gives tips. Focus on strengths, celebrate accomplishments, challenge negative self-talks,
What else?
affirmations, visualizing yourself as a person you want to be, taking actions that match that image.
It builds on itself. You focus on strengths, you take action, it boosts your self-image, and so on.
Self-care. Take care of yourself physically, emotionally, mentally. It sends a message that you're worthy of love and respect.
Self-care is not selfish, it's essential.
Now, let's talk about making others feel important. Building relationships, making a positive impact, boosting your own happiness.
You catch more flies with honey than with vinegar, as my grandma used to say.
Huh. I like that.
Hmm.
He calls it the law of indirect effort. Focus on making others feel important. You indirectly boost your own sense of importance.
What goes around comes around. Put out positive energy, it comes back to you.
7 ways to do this. First, accept people as they are. No judgment, no criticism. Unconditional positive regard, he calls it. Seeing the good in everyone.
Recognizing everyone has their own strengths and challenges, meeting them where they are.
Show appreciation. Say thank you, acknowledge their talents. Let them know you value them.
People may not remember what you did or said, but they'll always remember how you made them feel.
That's it. Give compliments, celebrate their wins,
Yeah.
and listen. Really listen. Not just hearing words, but understanding their perspective.
Active listening. Not planning your response, but being present, engaged.
Ask clarifying questions. Reflect back what you've heard. Show empathy. Give them your full attention. Put away distractions. Make eye contact.
Those little things can make a big difference.
Be supportive of their dreams. Offer encouragement, advice, help. Everyone needs someone in their corner.
Be positive, be cheerful. Your energy is contagious.
Be the change you want to see in the world. Surround yourself with positive people by being positive. Be courteous, considerate, kind. Small gestures matter. Hold a door, offer a hand, be polite.
It's all about connection, recognizing our actions impact others.
Forgiveness. A whole chapter on this. Not being able to forgive is a huge obstacle to happiness.
That hits home for me right now. I'm struggling with forgiveness in a family situation. Holding on to the anger hurts, but letting go feels impossible.
It's not about saying what happened was okay. It's about letting go of the anger, the resentment, the bitterness that weighs you down.
Freeing yourself from those negative emotions.
It's a process. It takes time. Not a switch you flip, but a journey. Forgiveness isn't forgetting. It's acknowledging the hurt, feeling the pain, and then choosing to let go.
Making that conscious choice, even when it's hard.
Write a letter, express your feelings. Choose to move on. Practice empathy. Try to see their perspective, even if you don't agree with their actions.
That's really hard when you feel wronged, but I can see how it might help.
Loving kindness meditation. Send compassion and forgiveness to yourself and others.
I've tried that. It's powerful. Shifting from anger to compassion changes everything.
Let go of grudges. Release the anger. Choose forgiveness. It's an act of self-love that can change your life.
I needed to hear that today. Thank you.
Now, peace of mind. A whole chapter on this, too. The ultimate goal of self-discipline, he says.
Peace of mind is the joyelle of self-discipline. That's interesting. Most people focus on external goals, success, money, fitness.
He sees it as inner peace, contentment. Not avoiding problems, but having the strength to handle them with grace.
Inner peace that doesn't depend on what's happening around you.
You don't find it, you create it.
Yeah.
Conscious effort, self-awareness, building the right habits and mindsets.
So you don't have to wait for everything to be perfect before you can feel at peace.
Right. He says, let go of what you can't control. Focus on what you can influence your thoughts, your actions.
We try to control everything, and when it doesn't work, we get stressed.
Live in the moment. Enjoy the simple things. Appreciate the beauty around you. Be present.
Shift your focus from the worries of the future and the regrets of the past to the and now W.
Practice gratitude. Think about what you're thankful for every day, even small things.
I've heard gratitude is really powerful for shifting to a more positive mindset.
Appreciate the good, even when things are tough.
It's not about denying the challenges, it's about choosing to focus on the good.
Mindfulness. Pay attention to your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Cultivate inner stillness.
Mindfulness is such a buzzword, but a lot of people don't really get it. It's not about stopping your thoughts, it's about observing them without getting carried away.
Simplify your life. Declutter your space. Let go of commitments that drain you.
I've been doing that lately and it feels amazing. Less stuff, less commitments, more freedom.
Create a more intentional life. Focus on what truly matters.
Mm.
Connect with something bigger than yourself. Nature, spirituality, a sense of purpose.
That's what so many people are searching for, that connection, that feeling of belonging.
Peace of mind. It's not about avoiding challenges, but building the strength to handle them.
Taking care of your whole self, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A balanced, purposeful life. So what do you think? What resonates with you about achieving peace of mind? It's amazing how he ties it all back to self-discipline, right? Peace of mind. It's not just about hitting those external goals, but finding that calm, that clarity within, no matter what life throws at you.
That's what we all want, right? Peace of mind. Especially these days, everything's so hectic, so noisy. Hard to find that quiet space inside.
And that's where self-discipline comes in, like
Yeah.
he says. It's not just talking about getting stuff done.
Yeah.
It's about mastering your own WN mind, your emotions, creating that peace within, no matter what's happening outside.
So before we wrap up this deep dive into no excuses, let's try to boil it all down. Key takeaways, stuff our listeners can actually use in their lives.
Great idea. Where do we even begin? There's so much good stuff in here.
Okay, how about this? Takeaway number 1, the foundation, is taking 100% responsibility for your life. No excuses. Own your choices, good and bad. Until you do that, you're giving away your power.
It all starts there, like he says. Stop blaming, stop making excuses, stop being the victim. You create your own life, your own future.
Which leads us to number 2. Never stop learning, never stop growing. The world's always changing, you got to keep up. Invest in yourself, your knowledge, your skills, your most valuable asset.
Lifelong learning, that's the key. Books, courses, conversations, anything that stretches your mind, don't get stagnant.
Okay, number 3. Set clear goals and actually do something about them. Don't just dream, take action. Break those goals down into steps. Make a plan and move forward.
Intentionality. Give your brain a target and it'll figure out how to hit it. That's what goals do.
Number 4, time management. Time is precious. Figure out what really matters, those 20% activities that get you the most results, and focus on those. No distractions. Work when you're at work. Be efficient.
Can't make more time, but you can use it better.
Number 5, build strong relationships. Family, friends, partners. These are the people who matter most. Communicate, empathize, be there for each other through good times and bad.
Nurture those bonds, make time for the people you love. Strong relationships make life richer.
Number 6, take care of yourself, body and mind. Eat right, exercise, get enough sleep, manage stress, be positive. Your health is everything. It's the foundation for everything else.
Make healthy choices. Those are investments in your future. When you feel good, you can do anything.
Number 7, forgive. Let go of the grudges, the anger, the bitterness. Holding on to that stuff only hurts you. Choose forgiveness for your own peace of mind.
It's a gift you give yourself. Freedom from those negative emotions, inner peace.
And finally, number 8, cultivate peace of mind. Simplify your life, be grateful, live in the moment, connect with something bigger than yourself. Peace of mind isn't something you find, it's something you build.
It's that inner calm, that clarity. It's possible no matter what's going on around you.
So there you have it, 8 key takeaways from No Excuses.
Powerful stuff, right?
And practical. You can start applying these today.
You've got the roadmap. Now it's time to take the journey. What resonates with you most? What's one thing you can do today to start living a life of no excuses? Think about it and then do it. No more excuses.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll be back next time with more ideas and strategies to help you live your best life.